yogis, thanks for coming to practice. We're gonna start in a comfortable seat. Any comfortable seat. You can sit onto a chair, lean against the wall, sit onto a pillow, block, or whatever you've got to make yourself as comfortable as possible. And we're gonna start with a little bit of breath work today. You're gonna take your index and your middle finger to the space between your eyebrows, and then your ring finger comes to left nostril, thumb to the right. Close the eyes, take an inhale, and then close the left nostril and exhale through the right nostril, and inhale through the right. And close the right nostril, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close left, exhale through the right. Inhale right. So you're going to keep switching nostrils just before the exhale. And while you're continuing this Nadi Shodhana, our alternate nostril breathing, smooth the breath out, eliminating bumps or pauses, rushes of air. And if you can, slow the breath down. While you're continuing Nadi Shodhana, the arm gets tired, and so we start collapsing the head towards our lap and really focus on lifting up through the crown of the head, drawing the shoulders back. Better posture allows for our lungs to be able to receive more air with less effort. Take one more round of breath like this. We're going to exhale or end with an inhale through the left nostril. And then you can release the hand when you're finished. Bow the chin into the chest. Take your left hand behind the head. And you're going to spread the fingers super wide. And instead of pulling the head to the chest, think about pressing the head gently back into your hand. And then from there, playing with which finger, applying more pressure with which finger gives you a better neck stretch. And then just sticking with that, or if you can't figure it out, not worrying about it, just applying a little bit of pressure of head into hand. and then release the head upright. Turn the head towards the arm that you're using, like 30, 45 degrees, and then you're going to bow the chin towards the collarbone. And so now the hand is kind of on the back, more kind of to the side. And again, fingers are spread wide. You're pressing the head gently into the hands. And then you can play with, kind of like you're playing the piano, seeing which finger, if any finger, gives you a better neck stretch. And again, you're not trying to pull on the head, just trying to apply a little extra pressure and press the head back into the hand. Release the hand, roll the head to center, and then you can bring it upright. I'm going to bring the other hand, fingers are wide, to the back of the head. Bow the chin into the chest. Start to press the back of the head into your hand. The hand's there to block that movement. And then pressing one finger at a time, a little bit extra, seeing if there's a particular finger that gives you a better stretch. And then bring the head upright. Turn the face 30 to 45 degrees towards that lifted arm, and then chin to collarbone, and then pressing the head into the hands, and then one finger at a time. Figure out which finger works best. And then you can release, roll the head to center, and then bring it upright, and then switch so the other shin bone is in front. We're going to reach the left arm to the sky, right hand plants alongside the hip, and then taking a nice side body stretch. Reach the left hip into the floor. Roll the left shoulder back. You can look up, down, straight forward, it's whatever's most comfortable for the neck. And then on your exhale, come up. We're just going to switch there, so then that right arm can reach up and over. The left elbow is bent so that your shoulder can move away from the left ear as you drop the ear towards the shoulder. Roll the right shoulder back. Keep your right hip firmly anchored into the floor. And then exhale to rise. We're going to repeat our side body stretch. This time we're going to grab a hold of your left forearm and pull it up and then over, and then this time you turn the chest down towards the right thigh. You're pulling actively that left arm up and over and turning the chest down instead of a back to the ceiling. You should feel this along the left back body. Breathe there expansively. And then inhale to rise, grab the right forearm, take our little side body, turn to the left thigh this time, and you're breathing into the right side of the back. Chest is turning down. Pull through the arm. And then inhale to slowly build yourself back upright, and then we can roll over the ankles to find table. Squeeze the fingertips actively together while they remain wide, so that action without movement is called an isometric action. Spin the biceps forwards and slide the shoulder blades to the hips. So now we've got a nice active arm. Pull the low belly in to lengthen the low back. Keep all that. Curl the toes under and make your way to downward facing dog. It's early for the hamstrings. You can keep the knees a little bit bent. You could even widen the feet to the edges of the mat. Make sure your neck is relaxed so the crown of the head is chasing the floor. Take a few more breaths here in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then inhale, send your right leg up to the sky. As you exhale, bring the knee into the collarbone. Set the foot at the top of the mat and lower your left knee onto the floor. And keep the left toes curled under today. Squeeze the legs strongly together. Breathe in. Pull the chest forwards. And on your exhale, round and bring the forehead to tap the knee. Whether it does or not doesn't matter. The action is in rounding the mid-back to the ceiling. Inhale, heart forwards, broaden the shoulders. As you exhale, curl and round. A few more on your own breath. This time, as you round into this cat back, forehead to knee, we're going to walk the hands up onto the right thigh, making our way into Anjaneyasana. The belly's continuing to hollow like it just was when we were a little bit lower, although we're going to take the arms cactus shape. And so keep that action, belly in, and then shoulder blades squeeze together. Now, let your chest start to rise. So there's a competing action of chest lifting and navel hollowing in. That ensures the low back stays supported and spacious through the activity of the core, while letting the upper back start to focus on curling open. You can see the underside of the forearm is spinning its way towards the ceiling. Take one more round of breath here. And then exhale, release the hands to frame your right foot. And we're going to shift the hips all the way back onto this left heel. So it's kind of like our broken toe pose with those left toes curled under. Straight right leg. Hands come right under the shoulders. I'm on fingertips. If you still have kind of a hard time reaching the floor, use some blocks or dictionaries, whatever is handy. Breathe and tail back, heart forwards. So focusing on this tiny little heart opener, draw the shoulders back. Now work on pulling your right heel back. And then breathe and rebend into your right knee. From all that, I can now walk my left knee back about an inch. Try it out. If you can, go for it. Keep your left hand underneath the shoulder reach the right arm to the sky, finding our twisting low lunge. You can continue reaching right arm straight up, or you might try reaching alongside your ear. If you're reaching alongside the ear, pull your right hip crease back. And then release that right hand inside of the foot. Curl the back toes under. If you change that, lift the back knee, and then walk the hands to the center of your mat, straightening the legs as much as is comfortable. Soft bend in the knees is welcome here. Squeeze feet together, breathe in, pull the chest forwards, and as you exhale, bow in. I'm sure you can feel the difference between the two legs in Prasarita Padottanasana. Hands come under shoulders, inhale, lift halfway up, and then start to walk the hands to frame your left foot, and we'll lower the right knee. So we've now spun towards the back of our mat. Keep your right toes curled under. Breathe in, pull the chest forwards, broaden the shoulders. As you exhale, around, low belly in, bow the forehead towards the knee. Inhale, pull the heart forwards, widen the collarbones, and exhale to open the back body, round the mid-abdomen away from the thigh. So moving that on your own breath. This next time that you round, you're going to keep it, and then walk the hands up onto your front thigh, rising up into Anjaneyasana. The belly continues howling in. And we're going to cactus arms, so the elbows are bent 90, the same height as the collarbones. Keep squeezing the legs together, and tendency is to back up out of that front leg. Keep the knee right over your heel. Belly in, chest rises. Start to turn the biceps towards the back of your mat as the underside of the forearm tilts to the ceiling. I like to look straight forwards on wobbly days, and on days I feel pretty grounded and steady, I'll look up towards the ceiling, not dropping the head back, just tilting the eyes, maybe the face up just a little. And then on an exhale, release hands to frame the foot. We're going to shift the hips back onto your right heel. Toes are curled under, hands under shoulders. Breathe in, heart forwards. And then simultaneously, you're reaching the tail back. What happens is the pelvis tilts forwards a little bit. Also work to pull your left heel back. Doesn't move really. It's just an action of waking the hamstrings up even more. Keep the front body spacious. Taking another round of breath here. And then we'll inhale and rebend. Keep your right hand under the shoulder. Walk that right knee back if you can. and then reach the left arm to the sky. And so the legs are continuing to scissor together, and you can keep the vertical arm or you can reach your tap arm alongside the earth so the palm faces the floor. As you're reaching through the left fingertips, pull your left hip crease back. And then release the top hand to the inside of the foot. You're going to walk, or first curl and lift the back knee, and then walk the hands to the center of the mat, returning to our wide-legged forward fold. The pinky edges of the feet are parallel to the short edges of your mat, and you're squeezing the legs in. As you find that breathe in, lengthen out through the chest, and also send your tail back. Exhale, navel in, fold. You can walk the hands in between the feet, or you could hold on to the edges of the feet. And if you're doing that one, then just a gentle pull, so the elbows kind of bend a touch. Here it's kind of nice to nod the head no a few times, and yes, relaxing the neck even more. Hands come under shoulders, inhale, lift halfway up. Now we're going to walk the hands to frame your right foot, refacing what was originally the front of your mat. Plant the hands firmly. Find your cat back, curl the right toes to the shin bone, and then pressing the floor, you're going to step back to plank pose. When you curl the mid back up and you curl the top of the foot to the shin bone and press the floor away, you should be able to get that foot back without it sliding along the floor. So then shift forwards. You can lower the knees first to modify, otherwise belly hollowing in, lower to the front body. Uncurl the toes, drive the hips down, lift the chest. Pull with the hands to send your heart forwards, curling the upper back. And then on your exhale, release up and back, downward facing dog. Kitties. Inhale the left leg to the sky. And as you exhale, knee to chest. Place the foot in between the hands. Returning to our runner's lunge. Squeeze the legs together. Breathe in, pull the chest forwards. Exhale, curl round, forehead to knee. A few like that with the back knee lifted. Inhale. Exhale. This time when you're curling round, we're going to walk the hands up onto the left thigh. And so squeezing the feet together and then keeping the belly hollowing in. We're going to cactus arms again. And belly in, chest rises, tilt the underside of the forearm up, and then you might add straightening the arms. If that's too much, just keep the elbows bent 90. If you've got the arms straight, imagine you're squeezing into a basketball, spinning the biceps towards the back of the room. Take another inhale here. And then exhale, arms out wide, interlace fingers, reach the knuckles and place them onto your left thigh. Press the thigh up into the hands, lift the chest a little bit more. Take 2 more breaths here, hugging shoulder blades together. So on your exhale, you're going to bow and set the shoulder on the left thigh or inside of it. If you get kind of wobbly, pivot your back heel down, so it's kind of a warrior one foot. Squeeze the feet together and pull your left hip crease back. Cascade the arms up and overhead. And then release hands to low back. Take the left hand inside of your foot. Again, another opportunity to use your block or phone book, whatever. Or you can bring the forearm all the way up onto the thigh. Roll the top shoulder back. Take the right arm to the sky. Spin the palm overhead and reach alongside the ear for extended side angle. Last breath in. Exhale, hands come inside of the foot. Walk the hands to the center of the mat as you pivot the toes to be parallel, pinky edges parallel to the short edges of the mat. Hands come under the shoulders. Breathe and lift halfway. Squeeze the feet together. Exhale, bow in. Vrasarta Padottanasana. For those of you who want to hang out here, you're welcome to stay. For those of you who feel like you want to work the upper body a little bit more, kind of a handstand press, then you're going to take hands right back under shoulders, lift up, and then you're shifting the weight forwards and coming to tippy toes on the exhale. And then the inhale, just relaxing the heels down, folding in. Breathing out to shift forwards. Press the floor away with everything you've got through the hands and come to tippy toes. And then inhale to come back. A couple more like that. You'll notice the way to get your spin so you can see, but the way to start to find liftoff is that cat back, hollowing the belly in, and driving the hands with everything you've got into the floor. After that last press, we're lifting up halfway and then walking the hands to frame your right foot, spinning to the back of our mat. Breathe in, pull the chest forwards. Exhale, curl the upper body in, forehead to knee, and moving that on your own breath. This time when you round, squeeze the feet together, walk the hands up onto the right thigh, rise, belly's hollowing in, cactus arms. Chest starts to rise, the underside of the forearm tilts up. You can stay here, stay deeply bent through that front leg, and then reach the arms back if you like. If you get there and you decide the low back's not happy, one thing, if you're really determined to do it, is lifting fronts of hips, navel in. That'll support the low back to straighten your arms. But if the core is fatigued, then you're going to go back to cactus arms instead. Arms go out wide, interlace, the other pinky can take an opportunity on the outside. Elbows squeeze together, reach the knuckles down onto your left thigh, lift the hamstrings up into the hands, and then curl the chest a little more open. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Breathe. And on your exhale, bow so that the right shoulder comes onto or inside of your right knee. Squeeze legs together, arms are up and overhead. If you're wobbly, spin your back heel onto the floor like warrior one, where your toes point mostly forwards. Relax the head. Here, the tush kind of likes to swing out to the side. Pull the right hip crease back. Take one more breath here. And then release hands to low back. Right hand inside of the foot on floor block. Take the left arm to the sky. Again, if you don't have a prop, the floor is not easily reached, forearm to the thigh instead. Spin the left hand overhead, reach alongside the ear. And then release, left hand down, walking the hands back to the center of the mat, spinning pinky edges of feet parallel, and I'm going to spin sideways so that you can see. So again, opportunity to just fold. Hands can be any of the options before. They could interlace behind the back once again and cascade up and overhead. You can always use a towel or a belt to widen the hands to make that a little bit easier on the shoulders. For those of you who wanted to work on strengthening and that handstand press, we're going to change it up a little bit. If you have a fear factor, you are not alone. And the way that you remove that for now is to spin up against the wall. I'm not going to do that so that you can see from this angle, and then I might for my own practice. But anyways, the same thing that we were doing before, we're inhaling and kind of relaxing neck and letting the heels stay on the floor. And as you exhale, think about what we were doing before, where the fingertips were squeezing strongly together, but they stay wide. Biceps are forward, shoulders are sliding down away from the ears. So that stabilizes the shoulder joint and the elbows. Okay, so from that, we're shifting forwards on the exhale, coming to tippy toes. If that was hard enough, then I want you to keep working that, rounding the back like cat pose, and inhale to relax. If you feel like, okay, I've got that down, my shoulders are strong, I'm energized, what we're going to do is you're going to hike one leg up. I'm going to go with my right leg, and my knees bent deeply, and I'm stacking that hip up, kind of like our, it's almost like a frog leg or fire hydrant pose. And then from there, I'm exhaling and shifting forwards. On the exhale, inhale to release, keep the leg up. Exhale to shift forwards. Inhale to release. If you feel pretty good with that, exhale, shift forwards, give a little tap, a little hop. Inhale to release, exhale to shift and hop, and release. And then you're going to switch legs. And so, finding that little hop. That wall, if you're using the wall, your hands are like, fingertips are like 4 inches away. And it looks like this from the back side. And that wall, you can notice how I get up a little bit higher because I don't have to fear falling over. And so if you're going for this hop thing, just a couple more. Good, and then back to wide-legged forward fold. Give the head a little shake, no, and yes. And then inhale, lift halfway up. And so then we're exhaling, walking the hands to frame. It was the left foot, and we're stepping back to down dog, or child's pose. Letting the breath slow. And actually, let's all meet in child's. Knees to the edges of the mat, big toes touch, sink the hips. Bring the palms together, and then Bend the elbows so that your thumbs come behind the head. So this is the reality of cat yoga. Release the arms and anchor the tailbone and slowly rise to seated. So whether you are working the handstand or not, we all need a little wrist therapy. So we just use our hands all day long. And so that's where we're going to go with the next sequence here. And so we're seated on the heels. Again, you can sit up onto like a rolled up blanket, a pillow to make the knees more comfortable. If you feel like, okay, this is pretty easy, seated on the heels like this, you're going to widen the feet so much that your hips could fit between them. You're going to roll your calves out to the side and find a seat all the way onto the floor for Virasana. Don't want the feet turned out to the side for Virasana. You want the heels pointing straight up for that. And so now go into our little wrist therapy. And so what we're going to do is take the arms out, shape of a T, curl the taps of the hands back and press strongly out through the heels of the palms. Let your shoulders relax and take a few slow, smooth breaths. I like to close my eyes and visualize laser beams shooting out through the heels of my palms. And then relax. Give the shoulders a little circle side to side. And we're going to repeat. So, but this time, as we curl the taps of the hands back, you're going to spin the fingertips back behind you and then down to the floor. And it changes things a little bit. Keep curling the taps of the hands back, pressing out through the heels of the palms. Slow, smooth breaths. And then release and give the shoulders a couple circles in both directions. And then we'll give our legs a break so we can come back to table and slowly straighten out one leg, bending and straightening a few times. And then circling that ankle around. Yep. And then switch legs when you're ready, bending and straightening. And circling that ankle both directions. Good. And so while we're here in our table, spin the fingers out to the sides as far back as is comfortable. Both hands like that. Find a little micro bend in the elbows. Pull the belly and slide the shoulders to the hips. If this is too much, you can always walk your knees closer to the fingertips. If you need more, which I can't really demo because my forearms are right where they want to be, but if you need more, your hips reach back towards your heels. And then walk the fingertips, or walk the knees to the fingertips, curl the toes under, and then lift off, finding broken toe pose on both feet. And so we're upright, give the fingers a little wiggle, and then you're going to firmly grab a hold of your right forearm. With a loose fist, circle that fist around. Keep squeezing the forearm pretty tight, and then change direction. And then switch forearms. Hugging, squeezing, loose left fist. Circle around. Good. From here, we'll make our way onto our back body. Arms can go cactus shape again. Planting the feet, shift your hips over to the left. No, over to the right, my bad. Tuck the knees towards your left shoulder and drop the legs all the way to the left. Face spins to the left as well. Close the eyes. And then bring the legs to center. It's easier to separate them. Plant the feet, shift your hips now to the left, tuck the knees to the chest and drop them to the right. The face will also roll to the right. We'll let the legs separate, come back to center. Center the hips. You can keep the arms where they're at and straighten your legs out for Shavasana, or bring the arms down. Just make sure your palms remain face up. Close the eyes. Let the whole body surrender to the floor. Let the eyes sink down into the eye sockets. Let the tongue widen onto the floor of the mouth. And the jaw be relaxed so there's a tiny space between bottom and upper teeth. We'll let the breath return to its natural rhythm. Keep breathing in Shavasana. The main aim of yoga is self-realization, according to BKS Iyengar in Light on Pranayama. Main aim of yoga is self-realization, communion of the self with the self. The exercise of pranayama involves the control of the mind and of the whole human consciousness, which is the basis of all cognition and awareness. A human being consists of his body, his life, including all biological activities, and his mind, which is the seat of what we call the ego, the I, and all cerebral activities centered around the I. The goal of yoga is to empty the whole of one's basic power of consciousness, of all memory, ideation, sensual urges and desires, and try to be aware of pure consciousness as a spark of the cosmic energy itself, which is of the nature of the self-conscious principle of supreme intelligence. For a person who wants to tread the path of yoga, his first effort will have to be to cease to identify himself with the body, life, mind complex completely, and to look upon those three elements as tools for transcending the ego in order to identify his inner being with the pure, unmixed power of consciousness, whose very nature is all peace, harmony, and creative joy. Begin to wiggle fingers and toes to reawaken the body. And when you're ready, roll over to one side, pausing there. Press into the floor to find a comfortable seat. And bring the hands in front of the heart in Anjali Mudra. Bow the head in recognition of this true self that's deeper than the mind, the body. And we're going to chant Om. Om is this vibration that connects us with our true self, with the supreme intelligence. And so if you want to join chanting this, I invite you to breathe into the low belly, expanding it, letting the mouth be pretty open wide to let the sound come out of the mouth. Take an inhale. My true self recognizes and bows to your true self. Namaste. Well, thanks again, yogis, for practicing. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And then, as I always say at the end of my yoga practices, I'm happy to make this practice accessible to everybody. And if you can make a small donation, there is information on how to do that in the description right underneath the video. So thank you so much. Take care.